For this month's student challenge in Kodu, we're going to create a maze and set it up so that we can drive our character around it. So to do this, what we're going to need to do is fairly simple. Let's start by creating a new world. Now, it's a good sized map, but we really like a little bit more space to be able to build anything. So we're going to select the ground brush on default, and we're just going to add some more ground to our screen so we've got a place to build. You can make it as big as you want or as small as you want, but you want a fair bit of space. Next, you're going to want to select this path tool. Now, the path allows you to do a couple of things. You can create paths that your characters can be set to follow, or alternatively, you can create walls, which for a maze is a very useful thing. So let's create a wall by right-clicking on the screen if you're using your mouse, and we're going to add wall. So you can see we add our first wall location, and then to add more, we're just going to put them where we want them, and left-click to add another section of wall. So let's add a simple path. There we go. Now then, to unselect this, we're going to push the escape key. Now, a maze isn't much good if you don't have an outside wall to keep something in. So let's add another wall, and we'll add the other half of the wall. And you don't have to be super precise about this. Okay. So the next thing we need to do is come over to the object tool, because we are going to add an object to our screen. And if we come up here to this one, you can see that it's got our wheelie man here. And there's Cycle. So there's Cycle added. Now we see he's a little bit big for the maze I made. So if you right click on him, you can change his size. And we can actually make him a little bit smaller to better fit our maze. Okay. Now the next thing we want to do is we want to be able to drive him around. So we're going to right click and go to Program. And we want to do, since I'm using a laptop, I'm going to do it with the keyboard, though you could do it with a gamepad as well. And I'm going to use the WASD keys to move him. And that's good. Now the next thing we have to do is here in the world, we have to change a few things. What we want to do is we want to turn off glass walls. So what this means is that if our character comes to the edge of our platform, our map, he'll fall off. So that's an interesting thing we want to do for this, just to add a little bit of risk. Now the other thing that you might want to do is, depending on your game, you want to change the camera mode. And with free, it'll always keep the camera behind the character by default, which, depending on how you're using your controls, can be disorienting, or maybe it's what you want. This would be like a third-person perspective. You can also use an anchored camera, which means your camera will always be at the same spot. This is like your classic isomorphic sort of top-down look. And I like that personally, so I'm going to go to fixed position and set my camera. I want my camera to be really top-down, like a classic mage. So all I did was I right-clicked and dragged to move the map. So you can see here that to set my location, I'm going to push enter. The other thing I notice here is, and I can escape out of this menu, I notice that this wall is actually really tight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to my path tool, and I'm going to select this location. I'm actually just going to move that piece of wall, and we can see that we've got a little bit nicer now. There we go. Let's do this, and we'll drive our character around. Hit the escape key to control him. Oh, bouncing off the walls a little bit. So you can see we can drive him around pretty easily with the WASD keys. And the logic for right-left is already built in. I'm not changing that. It's in relevance to the screen. So we're going to see here that I'm going to drive off the edge, and there he goes. And that's really what we need to do. So what we can do now is frame your shot nicely so that you can see everything. We can see our fella right down here. We'll zoom in a little bit. And this is what you'd want to take a screenshot of for the program. So just to get another look at that logic to be able to control our wheel, our cycle, you select the keyboard, WASD, and move. And for our world controls, we changed glass walls, and we went to a fixed camera for this example. And then this is our screenshot right here.